From childhood to adulthood, our parents and teachers have always taught us that we must excel in a trade, master a skill, and then, no matter where we go, we won't fear starvation. This viewpoint, at first glance, seems reasonable, but in reality, it's the mindset of the poor. In the past, being skilled in a trade was indeed very valuable. Wherever you went, you wouldn't fear dying of hunger. However, in this era of information explosion and overproduction, if you don't master an extraordinary skill, one that can change the world, then being good at a trade won't help your life make a leap forward, let alone achieve financial freedom. I know, your life is very busy. Even so, the things I'm saying are not easy to absorb, especially very difficult to master. If you only listen once, my advice is to watch until the end, listen repeatedly when you're free or doing housework. Share and save the playlist for your convenience. I'm certain within a few short months, your mindset will develop remarkably, reaching a new height. Dear ancients, greetings to all of you. This world doesn't need too many rich people. If everyone had 5 billion, no one would clean toilets, no one would collect garbage. Therefore, to maintain the smooth operation of this society, it must be ensured that the majority of people will never achieve their financial goals. You will always lack money, and thus, you will always have to work. Your poverty has been predetermined. Why do I say this? A 22-year-old child graduate from university retires at 60. Their working time is only 38 short years. In these 38 years, there are only 14,000 working days. Subtract weekends, holidays, time for dating, sick leave, maternity leave, personal entertainment, and the time a person has to create wealth is reduced to just 10,000 days. In these 10,000 days, if that person is at the lowest rung of society, earning 100,000 VND per day, their lifetime wealth limit is 1 billion VND. If they are a small office worker, earning 200,000 VND per day, their lifetime wealth limit is 2 billion VND. This 2 billion figure is not net wealth, but includes daily living expenses, food, and necessities. If this person spends according to consumerism, in the end, they'll be left with nothing. If they save little by little, after years of hard work, they might just have enough for a down payment on a house in the city they live in. All of this has been designed for you, and it's very hard to escape this cage. So how do you break free? To do this, you must change your ecological environment. If your ecological environment is already wrong, even if you clean the toilet water until it's drinkable, you still can't make money from it. So what is the right ecological environment? In ancient times, it was called scholars, farmers, artisans, and merchants. Scholars were those with positions responsible for distribution. Farmers were next. Farmers worked so hard, so why were they ranked so high? Because in 5,000 years of Chinese civilization, for 1,950 years were agricultural culture. Land and food were the most important means of production. Farmers were diligent, endured hardship, but they only received consolation prizes, and their position wasn't truly as high as people thought. So what was the ecological position after farmers? Artisans. In ancient times, these were craftsmen, blacksmiths, fishermen, weavers. They were called skilled workers. Over many years of oppression, fishermen weren't allowed to come ashore, and blacksmiths worked extremely hard. But who was even worse off than artisans? Merchants. When mentioning merchants, people immediately think of deceit. No merchant is without cunning. No cunning, no merchant. In ancient times, merchants were often seen as greedy and deceitful. Yet, in reality, merchants lived well and were wealthy. So, why? In the system of scholars, farmers, artisans, and merchants, were merchants ranked last? That was because of the ruling class's purpose. From a young age, they studied literature and martial arts, grew up, and sold themselves to the king. Whether artisans or farmers, they were all controlled by the ruling class. Only merchants couldn't be controlled. Merchants bought goods from the state of Chu and sold them to the state of Qi. Goods from Qi were sold to Chu, or Wei, or Qin. Merchants were beyond the state's control. What is the logic of a merchant's money-making? It's the structure of transactions, the frequency of transactions, the efficiency of transactions, and the scale of transactions. This was the ecological position in ancient times, and today, this ecological position still continues. Nowadays, the lowest ecological position in society is manual labor. We call them those who sell their labor. They earn money with their sweat and effort. Representatives of them are farmers, workers, drivers, delivery people. All those who earn a living through labor belong to the 1.0 ecological position, called manual labor. They make money by selling their time and effort. But there's a big trap here. Time is limited and labor diminishes with age. They no longer have the strength to work and can only become security guards. Hands stop working, mouth stop eating, income drops to zero. A serious illness can push them back to pre-liberation times. A financial code designed for them is that diligence leads to wealth. But diligence only leads to sufficiency, not wealth. Manual laborers, the first time they awaken in life is when they send their children to school. Child, don't be like us, without stable jobs, struggling everywhere. Study hard. So, even if the family has only one man earning 8 to 9 million VND a month, they dare to let the wife stay home full-time, raising the kids to study. If that child studies well and gets into university, say a very good university, later working for the government, or becoming a doctor, lawyer, accountant, teacher with a specialized skill. But can these people become rich? No. They simply move from heavy labor to lighter labor. They go from holding a shovel to holding a scalpel. They don't own the means of production, just move from unstable income to slightly more stable income. From earning through labor to earning through skills. We call these people skill sellers. Their income might be 20 or 30 or 20 to 40 million VND a month. In reality, these people are still very poor in big cities. Though their skills improve over time, their time remains limited. For example, your child learns excellent massage skills. Even if they earn 100,000 VND per hour, working 10 hours a day, they'd only make 1 million VND a month, just 30 million. This amount doesn't include costs for food, clothing, living, or rent. Plus, they can't work continuously like that every day. If I suddenly gave them 10,000 customers and 1 billion VND, could they earn that money? No, they couldn't. Tell customers, I can only serve 10 people a day, 3,650 people a year. Please wait 3 years at 2 p.m. for your turn. There's a big issue here. Time is limited. Labor is limited. It can't be doubled or scaled. Thus, these first two ecological positions are designed so you'll never have money in your lifetime. So what to do? You must achieve a breakthrough. Escape the distribution trap. I can't sell massage services to 10,000 people at once, but I can sell 10,000 bottles of mineral water at once. Even if I only earn 2,000 VND per bottle, if I sell 10,000 bottles, I can make 20 million VND. If I meet the right customer and convince them, perhaps in just 10 minutes, I've sold 10,000 bottles. So we need to become salespeople. Selling has many levels. Old-style selling is meeting one person to sell. Direct marketing only sells one order with low transaction efficiency. But if one person meets a group to sell, that's hybrid selling. If one person sells in a live stream room, live with 100,000 followers, that's an online salesperson, a famous online seller. Transaction frequency, scale, structure, and context all change. Only with significant growth and scaling in these areas can they earn big money. That's the third level of selling. The highest level is selling household registration. Just holding a household registration book in big cities can do many things. For example, in Beijing, with a household registration, you can open a gas station. So, why do many people want to become civil servants? They hope to join the distribution system. But there's a big trap here. Passing the civil service exam doesn't mean you can join the distribution system. The distribution system has 3 roles. 1 is officials, 2 is enforcers, and 3 is errand runners doing menial tasks. If you don't have support from above, even if you pass, you'll only earn a few million a month, plus a pension. Your life will remain like that forever. No one can harm you, but you can't advance either. That's the individual ecological position. Cities also have their ecological positions. Remote mountainous provinces or areas near cities with large agricultural lands, dense industrial zones will have university admission rates far different from central cities, where banks, financial jobs, and offices concentrate. And then, millions of candidates ultimately return to their hometowns, fitting the ecosystem of their province. When you go to Western countries, have you ever felt this? Life is relaxed, free, no need to work overtime, leaving work after 4 p.m. At night, shopping, you don't see anyone selling plastic stuff. In our country, people there don't care for vanity, don't compare, value family highly, always make time for family. Seeing this, you feel truly envious. Why must our people work 996, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week, and even work on Sundays? Night shifts, evening to morning, we seem like kings caught in a work whirlwind. Why is that? It's the national ecosystem. For a nation to develop, the most important things are 4 resources: food, oil, natural gas, iron ore. Look at the world's rich countries. Saudi Arabia, with a population of 33 million, exports oil worth $300 billion annually. People don't need to do anything, just lie back and are fully provided for. Just stick a pipe in the ground and oil flows out. That's real income from natural resources. Norway, a small country with a small population, ranks 3rd in gas and oil exports. Australia, with vast land but sparse population, 26 million people, is the world's largest iron ore exporter. Now, look at East Asian countries like Japan, population 127 million, 63% of food imported, 96% of gas imported, 99% of oil imported, and 100% of iron ore imported. South Korea, with over 50 million people, self-supplies only 10% of food. Over 80% of oil, gas, and iron are imported. And China, with 1.8 billion mu of farmland for food self-sufficiency, but oil, gas, and iron are all imported. The US, with the dollar's power, tops the supply chain, printing money, collecting global wealth. So, East Asian countries in the global ecosystem, do you know how they're positioned? China is positioned as a manual labor nation, with polluting industries, crowded labor, low value added. Factories, weren't they first in the 4 Asian tigers? Then moved to China, like Dongguan, Suzhou, and now the US shifts to India, Vietnam. Tell me, is that right? Our positioning is manual labor. These people are body sellers. And Switzerland and Germany, they're skill sellers. The US is a resource distributor. To this day, I tell you, America's power exceeds your imagination. You need a global perspective to see that every nation, every city, every individual has its own ecological position. Thus, I always say, don't be a stone carver and don't despise those at the bottom. In reality, manual laborers and those at society's bottom are like the Mekong Delta to Vietnam and Vietnam to the world. It's a seamless connection. When you realize this, you'll see that in this world, everyone is a salesperson. Conveying ideas, educating your kids is nurturing children. Bonding with your partner is marriage. Selling a product is selling. Selling a project is fundraising. Selling a company is issuing stocks. Applying for a job is successful application. If you have a network, you're a salesperson. If you lead a team, you're a sales manager. If you consolidate a project and lead a large team, you're a boss. In fact, everyone is selling. And the most important skill everyone must learn is selling. Knowing how to sell yourself gets you a good image. Knowing how to sell gets you money. Everything you can't buy or don't have money for is because you don't know how to sell too little, or not enough. To this day, selling and entrepreneurship remain the only paths for ordinary people to change their fate. Even if you tighten screws until they smoke, you won't make money. Delivering goods, exhausting yourself to broken legs, won't make money. Driving a taxi nonstop, leaving pots and pans, eating and sleeping in the car, tired, sleep, wake up, drive again, still won't make money. All of this was designed and distributed beforehand. This system is set up to keep you at 10 to 20 million VNE income. not starving to death, but never full. You must keep working endlessly. From childhood to adulthood, parents and teachers taught us that we must excel in a trade, master a skill, and then, wherever we go, we won't fear hunger. This view, at first, seems reasonable, but in reality, it's the mindset of the poor. In the past, excelling in a trade was indeed valuable. Wherever you went, you wouldn't fear starvation. But in this era of information explosion and overproduction, if you don't master a world-changing skill, excelling in a trade won't make your life leap forward, let alone achieve financial freedom. If you notice, most people today hold an outdated, stubborn belief: learning a skill equals making money. So they study hard, compete in grueling university exams, all to get into a good school, learn a trade, find a stable job. But the harsh reality is the skills ordinary people learn face cutthroat competition, truly brutal. You'll be thrown into a pile, judged on who has the best skills, who demands the lowest wage, and that person stays. So, relying on your refined skills and constantly lowering your limits to meet others' needs, overcoming countless hardships, you finally get a meager salary. But over time, your age increases, skills decline. Once someone cheaper and better suited replaces you, you can only leave bitterly. At this point, some say those eliminated just weren't skilled enough. If I master a top-notch skill, the boss will never fire me. Sorry, you don't realize a top skill is a false proposition, a laughable game. Because in this era of talent surplus, no matter how good, how elite your skill is, someone better will always replace you. For example, you tighten screws in an electronics factory. No matter how good your screw tightening skill is, someone will always tighten faster. Even if your skill reaches 100 points, unbeatable in a lifetime, can you work forever in someone else's company? That's impossible too, because your screw tightening job is just one part of product creation, and the product is just one part of marketing. If the factory's product doesn't sell, brings no decent profit, why would they hire you with your elite skill? You can't bring more profit to the boss. In his eyes, you're not even worth a guy who can sing karaoke and drink with him. So, what reason do they have to keep you forever? Thus, a top skill is fundamentally a false proposition. You're just a wage worker, unqualified and unneeded, to obsess over so-called elite skills. Moreover, obsessing over skills makes your brain increasingly sluggish, your independent thinking weaker. Skill-obsessed people often delude themselves that any life difficulty or obstacle comes from their skill not being good enough. This is, in fact, a sick mental state. Skill-obsessed people cling to the skills they've learned, unwilling to stand higher, see further. In the end, they can only trap themselves in their tiny, laughable world, living in ignorance, becoming both poor and miserable. In short, if you want a broader, freer life, don't obsess over skills. Don't think wage work is the only way to live. Know that, in society, there are 4 roles: wage workers, freelancers, bosses, and investors. The latter 3 don't need to join the skill-learning army, nor worry about grinding skills to please others. If you have ideas and passion, abandon your skill obsession. Escape the wage worker's rut. Nowadays, many young people don't work, yet live comfortably. They're effective online operators. Today, many online projects need little capital, but yield high profits. You can try Boldly Act. Of course, beware of online scams. Otherwise, even without results, you lose nothing. When you take life's responsibility on your shoulders, you can unlock your potential, see beyond work, start earning as a true boss. You don't need to master any skill. In their minds, they don't even know what PowerPoint is, what video editing is, yet they still make lots of money. Why? Because as bosses, they don't need to be skilled themselves. They just need skilled people to work with. A boss doesn't know writing? Hire a writing expert. A boss doesn't know editing? Hire a skilled editor. A boss doesn't know banking or tax tasks? Hire an accountant. What a boss really needs to think about is marketing, selling, how to get others' money into your pocket, how to organize a team, bring in more money. That's what you should learn. The core of the entire profit process is winning customers. This is the most valuable step. As for skills, just offer a 30 million V&D monthly salary and plenty of elite skill talents will line up for you. A project earns 2 billion, spend 100 million on workers, and they'll thank the heavens. Once you awaken, no longer obsessed with skills, no longer wanting wage work, you must think more. Others have side income. So what extra income channels can I open? How can I become a freelancer with independent income? What should I sell? Who are my target customers? Where do I find customers? How do I run my own small business model? How do I boost my appeal so more people stay, spend more on you? Once you start thinking about these issues, congratulations, you've finally escaped the wage worker's rat race.